All right, hello everyone. How we doing, legends? And welcome back to the Dead by Daylight League. My name is Spokermann, and I'm really excited to announce that we have three matchups happening tonight. With our first matchup, I'm going to be joined by my very good friend Prion. How you doing, legend?
I am doing great. Thank you for the introduction, Spokerman. It's been a really long time since we casted together. You were my first time casting in DBDLeague, my first ever partner, so it's really great to be back here with you today.
Ah, awesome. Well, it's good to have you back once again. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't even realize that. It's a treat to have you back, and hopefully we'll get through these games nice and quickly. Now, as we go through the sets that we're going to be seeing today, there is one minor graphical issue that we didn't really have time to change because the teams came to an agreement on the tiebreaker set for it to be Demogorgon instead of Blight. So we're going to be just saying that off the rip. If you're seeing Blight on the screen, there will sadly be no Talbot Grimes. Instead, it'll be Demogorgon on the ARP, which will be a very interesting tiebreaker, don't you think, Prion?
Yeah, the Demogorgon has been a pretty interesting set. I mean, ever since it became popular in comp, but I believe putting it on Azerov's resting place has made it just that much more interesting. We used to see it a lot on maybe Cold Tower or Wrecker's Yard, but putting a killer with not really that much power on a larger map like Azerov's resting place has really been giving us a lot of different results between the teams. We've been seeing 4Ks even at high generators, but we've also been seeing a lot of room for the survivor teams to play really well and get a lot of outs on that map too. So there's a lot of room for skill expression on both sides there, and I'm excited to see what results we get.
No, I definitely have to agree with you there with the ARP volatility, I guess, when it comes to how the killers and the survivors are going to be performing. I guess the most notable thing that we're going to be seeing is the Demogorgon having to be really just crucial with the portal setups and identifying very early on, obviously, which side of the map we're going to be holding, and either having portals set up to go cross map, getting that set up early on, or sort of having portals almost entirely set up on a certain part of the map to hold a 4 gen or even a 5 gen going into the mid map, which can be seen sometimes on the Azeroth's resting place. But I like that we're going in reverse order here because the second set of tonight will be the Ghost Face set on the treatment theater on Larry's. Now, this will be Trauma's pick of killer, which will be really interesting to see because obviously Trauma has picked this killer knowing that they have good performance against him after taking a victory against Zero Practice, I believe, in the Ghostface set that they played. So, what do you think Trauma's got for us with this one?
It's really interesting to me that Trauma has picked the Ghost Face today because, like you said, they beat Zero Practice on it. And Zero Practice is the team that will pick Ghostface every single time it's available. So the fact that Trauma was able to take Ghostface off of Zero Practice means that now they seem to be very confident on that set and very confident enough to pick that into Tremor, who I would not say is a stealth killer team, if that makes sense, Spoker. So
Mm.
it's going to be really interesting, as Ghostface sets always are. I am a huge fan of Ghostface sets. I believe they are almost peak Dead by Daylight, in a way. But I know that not everybody is a fan of them because of the slugging and the hatch RNG. But hopefully we don't see any of that today. If we see a good clean game where the killers are able to find the people that they down, and there's no like imminent threat of a tie with like a hatch escape. But yeah, I'm really excited for the Ghostface set. I always am. But your thoughts?
Well, I think the biggest part about Larry is obviously being a indoor map is the fact that the hatch RNG is obviously a factor in the game, and I know as a lot of people have been saying RNG doesn't really have that much of a place in comp, but there's just sometimes where it's completely unavoidable, and this is one of those times where there's no way to force a hatch spawn at a certain part of the map, and it really does come down to a potential RNG element on whether or not you have a good end game or not. I also think that getting into the 3v1 as quickly as possible obviously is the pure essence of comp DBD. once the first survivor gets eliminated, that's exactly when the game really begins to start. And I feel like both of these teams are going to be putting on really, really good 3v1 performances, especially on Larry's as well, where a lot of gen setups can really be spawning around the main area, the TV room, more commonly known as. There's always some sort of gen setup set up around there, and a lot of our ghost faces like to bring eruption and other perks to sort of complement that and keep that area of the map in control. And it's just always really nice to see the methodical how methodical the gameplay has to be, sorry, in order to break a setup like that. So that's just my thoughts on it personally, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with that. Now, what's our first set going to be tonight?
It is unknown.
There you go.
Yep.
Unknown on the Wrecker's Yard.
Unknown
I
on Wrecker's Yard. I could talk about this set for
Yeah,
hours,
go for it.
honestly. I love this set. It's been so fun to see so far this season. The unknown in general, I love playing this killer. I play him in comp a little bit myself, even though I'm not quite as good as these guys on the stream. But
Mm,
it's such a feast or famine set so far, and we have not seen a lot of teams going for it, but the teams that we do see going for this in pick ban really like it, and they have a very high win rate on it. It's usually
mm.
very obvious in these sets which team picked the unknown, because you'll see their killer get a 4K2, and then you'll see the other team's killer get 4 outed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know what you mean. Where a team just has a killer so down pat, especially a more recent addition to the game as well. As each killer gets added to the roster, there's just more and more like different powers and play styles that you have to play around, and it's a lot for the teams to have to learn and keep up with as more content gets added to the game. So it's no real surprise that there are teams who are, putting all or most of their resources, sorry, into mastering these killers as they come out and just being able to have an edge against even some of the older and strongest of teams in the league to, get some nice cheeky set points. And I think that's exactly what Tremor is going for here. I just want to quickly touch on as well the fact that we are in week 7 at the moment. I'm sorry I didn't announce that earlier, but that means we only have, I believe, 3 weeks until the playoffs are scheduled to start. So Tremor and Trauma both sitting around 5th and 6th place. 5th Tremor, 6th Trauma in the standings right now, both with 3 wins, 3 losses, and 0 ties. I believe I read that correctly. But in a very similar position in the standings is what I'm trying to say, where the top 8 teams go to the playoffs. So they're really going to be fighting for their position and just having a decent standing going into the last couple of weeks of the league. Now, before we get the game started, there is an age old tradition, as old as the league itself, that we need some predictions out here. And Prion, who do you think is going to be winning this? And how decisively do you think this win is going to be?
Oh, that's so mean, Spoker, making me predict a match where Tremor is a party. Um, you never really know what's going to happen with them. But if I look at the sets here, I think I would have to predict a 2-1 for Trauma.
I like that a lot because I was thinking very similarly. Now, I obviously feel like Trauma is going to be taking this Ghostface set. I think it's going to be really hard for Tremor to get the set advantage there, whereas the other 2 sets could really more so go either way. So it's tough for me to make a comfortable prediction with this, but I think I'm just going to have to agree with you, Prion, and I think Tremor will be the ones to take Unknown, and Trauma will be taking the Demogorgon.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So I guess we'll see it. We will see if great minds think alike, or if
Mm.
we need to be kicked out of the prediction room.
Kicked off the desk entirely as well. But I think that's all the time that we have for today before we get these matches set up. So I'm really excited for everything we've got in store for this first best of 3. There'll be plenty more games happening after we've departed as well. So stick around. Now's the perfect time to grab yourself something to eat or drink before the game starts. So, legends, we'll catch you all very, very soon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first match of Tremor versus Trauma. It is going to be the unknown on Wrecker's Yard. And before I begin here, we do have a bit of housekeeping. In this match, there is going to be a half a hook stage penalty and a black card going to Tremor for not showing up on time and significantly extending the lobby setup time. So, Wispy here on the Unknown. Got my partner here, Spokermann, on the cast with me. Brenout is going to be taking the first hit on that double window, taking chase towards Shaq. This is a decent start for Wispy considering the penalty.
Wow, it's so nice to see that Wispy is still actually going for those like decently long range shots with the UVX, I believe the power name is called. And look at that shot, getting the infection onto Granout is just going to be pre-dropping that filler. We'll see double progress on this generator near the Shack, and the Ruin is just going to be absolutely regressing it off the rip, getting a couple tags across the board. Wispy gets some really good early game pressure and a nice TP onto Escape with another. I believe it's called an infection. Someone's going to have to correct me, but this is a really good early game pressure for Wispy.
It's called weakened Spoker. I mean, it is kind of like being infected. I totally understand. Wispy here, he does miss that shot onto Escape, but he's already playing this very well. As an unknown player myself, he's not really committing to any one chase, but he's got 3 injuries, and we can tell that he's definitely hitting his shots here. And hitting your shots is the most important thing on the Unknown, as he takes another teleport, finds the only healthy and non-weakened survivor, and he's gonna get another weakened onto him too. This is Swatter on the Renato. He's at the split bus, not really where you want to be, and he takes an M1. Wispy's gonna have a chance to follow up here with the UVX, but he has short time here if Swatter's able to cleanse this weakened. Here comes the shot, and he's gonna get the down onto Swatter. Very nice, clean shot from Wispy. He's really on point right now. And first gen is going to pop, but that's not really going to matter that much. We know that, or rather Wispy knows, that there won't be that much else gen progress on the map. And medium vault from Grenout, wow. He's going to take another M1, and he's still weakened. Here comes a follow-up shot from Wispy.
Wait. Nah, not quite. Grenout's definitely going to be able to get at least enough distance. Also getting rid of the weakened as well, which is really nice to see. Wispy sort of trying to hold that left side of the map. Yeah, that would be left side of the map. As 2 resets have already come through onto Escape and Autumn, even after that first gen getting done. Now, it really is no surprise that... Oh, that would have been so nice if that hit. It's really no surprise that we're seeing Ruin, Undying, Pentimento, and the Corrupt Intervention as our unknown build here. I feel like we're probably going to be seeing a mirror of builds on both sides here, and Wispy just playing for the zone here, trying to push people off of gens, trying to force that second stage. As Unknown does have somewhat of a range capability with his power to push people off of gens and get that regression going through. So the second stage comes through onto Swatter, and Escape is getting pushed off his gen. Oh no, never mind, sorry, that's Granout.
Yeah, and Wispy has a Dull Totem near that gen that Granout is trying to do, which is making it pretty easy for him to try to go for a cross-map shot there. He barely missed that one onto Granout. With the Ruin as well, pushing Granout off that gen is just buying him time. As he's faking the shot again, but still trying to hold the hook as well.
Actually does go for the shot and lands it onto Grenout. Really nice. The unhook has just come through. Wispy can't insta-power at the unhooker and at Swatter. So Swatter does manage to make enough distance to not get weakened then, is forced to just play this pallet for his life. Manages to go back towards the matchstick tiles. Nope, scratch that. Over to a filler towards the edge map. Not quite an edge map filler. This is still a nice one. Wispy sort of zoning towards the right side of the map, back to the matchstick tiles. Nothing Swatter can really do about that one with the teleport here as well. Swatter is just going to go down unless there's a hit tank. But the pallet does come through, and he respects it, but oh my goodness, Swatter could not quite dodge a beautiful shot, and Wispy's going to be getting the first elimination with no help from Autumn, unfortunately. Nothing to be done.
Really good attempt there on the blind from Autumn Sadness, but unfortunately, Wispy knows that when you're playing the Unknown and somebody's trying to dodge your shot, the best way to hit that shot is to look down and bounce it on the ground. So he's able to dodge the flashlight and to get the shot. Swatter is going to be dead with 2 generators remaining. Ruin and Undying are both still up, Spokermann. And Grenout is getting zoned towards the edge map. He's still weakened. He's got no resources here. The weakened is going to be removed, but no pallets or windows in sight, just a Z-wall. He's not going to be able to play that. No Z-wall incidents today. And Wispy's actually going to slug. Ooh. He's going to go for more pressure here.
Wow, and I think it's actually going to pay off seeing Autumn back on this gen that we saw her on before. Wow! Okay, Wispy, Jesus, that was insane. Through the trash can, or the dumpster, sorry. Trying to go for the blind as well, and actually throws Wispy off enough to not actually land and injure. But there is the M1, the weakened being gone. Wispy has to go for a 2-tap with power to get this down, and I'm assuming Escape has gone for, for the full reset onto Granout.
Yeah, and Autumn Sadness now getting zoned towards the edge map. I believe this is a pallet gem that they have here. And Wispy mind gaming it, and I believe he is going to get that M1 down. Nice mind game there from Wispy. Autumn Sadness is going to go down. Is he going to continue to slug, though? It looks like he is. Maybe choosing a teleport. No, he really wants to get the value out of his Ruin and Undying here. Goes for another pretty long-range shot, does not hit onto Grenout. You can't hit all of those. They're pretty telegraphed, easy for the survivors to dodge the further away they are. So, good play from Grenout there to dodge that. And he's actually just going to teleport right back to the other side of the map. See if he can catch Escape working on a gen, but he picks incorrectly. Maybe Escape is going for the pickup on Autumn Sadness, as Autumn Sadness picked up there. Wispy is getting a lot of pressure here, but not really holding on to it. I'm not sure what he's going for here.
Yeah, no, Wispy's really aggressively trying to play for this 4K to set at least a really nice win con for the team. A pallet drop does get through, but I think Autumn's going to be able to get rid of the weekend, but a really nice teleport being placed. Wispy can cook up with this, absolutely. And there's the TP, and there's the down. Beautiful follow-up. But is he going to continue to slug, though? It's going to work because Ruin is obviously still up and not going to be going anywhere, so I don't see why Wispy shouldn't. And that's exactly what we're going to be seeing, trying to rotate back over to that gen in the deepest pockets of the right-hand side of the map, as we don't have a teleport there anymore. It has been dispelled. So really well played by Trauma Survivor so far, but also really well played by Wispy holding this together.
And he's going to put a hallucination here down by this faraway gen in the corner. I'm surprised the survivors on Trauma have not found that totem yet. It's really not hiding. As Escape, now found at the double window tile, he's going to get weakened through that vault. And Wispy going for even more pressure, trying to get a second survivor down, but Autumn Sadness is going to get picked up in the distance. Nice injure there onto Escape. Very precise shot from Wispy. You see, he put that under the pallet so that it would bounce up. Really nice shot there, and Escape is going to still be weak. No, he removes the weakened, but he's going to a place with no resources whatsoever. He is going to take an M1 and go down here. And will Wispy continue to slug? Escape is a full bleed out bar, but yes, he is going to continue to slug Spoker. And while we have some time here with some survivors on the ground, I was wondering what that yellow add-on is that Wispy is running. That is the Victims map, which applies 3 seconds of Killer Instinct from a survivor that dispels the weakened by looking at Wispy. I've never seen that add-on used in comp before, and I was really interested to see what exactly that was doing for him.
I was going to say, I thought you were putting me on the spot there trying to tell what it actually does, so thank you for explaining it for me and the chat. I believe we also have the plugin as well that allows you to see, wow, really nice dodges by Granout, also getting rid of the weakened as well. Oi, 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 oi. But yeah, if anyone is ever confused about add-ons or perks, we do have the plugin. Swing and a miss. Granout will make the pallet, but doesn't vault it. Wispy goes for the teleport. Granout still doesn't vault it. It's going to continue to go for the vault and does get tagged. Wispy just committed that Granout was going to go for that vault. The Undying is going to be giving Granout away here, but still going to be able to make it to the back of this 4-lane looking tile and all the way to the deepest side of the map that Granout can really get to. The way that Trauma is playing this right now is just trying not to die in the gens, because as soon as a survivor goes down in the gens, Wispy is just absolutely winning, and it's the main reason why he's been slugging a lot of these survivors. They're just not in a good enough spot to justify that hook, and we lose a totem by the shack. Undying is now gone, and Ruin is also gone. Penty is going to have to start coming into play. Escape and Autumn cleansing the totems at the same time. I'm sorry, I'm stealing your thunder, Prion.
Yeah, and nice teleport there. He's going to get an M1 onto Autumn Sadness. Shack Pallet not going to come down, and the survivors of Trauma have finally destroyed both of these totems, which means that if they cleanse those one more time, there are going to be no more perks in play for Wispy, as You saw earlier he weakened Grenout and then immediately teleported away. How much is left on that weakened here? He's gonna have a follow-up shot here. There is a pallet. He steps back, gets the clean shot onto Grenout. Very nice job. You don't want to get fooled by a survivor running right into you while you charge that UVX when you're playing the unknown. So Wispy finally going to be hooking somebody here. And probably going to take a teleport now over to the other side of the map, I would guess, to check on that gen that Escape clinched the totem by. But it seems like Wispy is content to just leisurely stroll up the map. He's searching for maybe a possible reset onto Autumn Sadness. Sees a crow over there by that gen in the corner. Finds the blood trail. This could be bad, Spokermann. This is kind of where things start to get hairy in the 3v1 for survivors.
Autumn not quite being able to dodge that is really, really unfortunate, being zoned into such an awkward spot. But yeah, with a lot of the totems gone, Wispy has had that time to at least get the hook onto Grenout across the map. Still went for that shot though, bit of a time waste as Autumn was managed to dodge it out. Wispy not landing the shot, and the weakened is going to be going away as well. Wispy getting a little bit stuck on the trash here, but will make it over to the pallet gym, and the weakened doesn't apply because it bounced off the edge of the pallet. That is so unfortunate. But that TP at the pallet gym might come in handy later on, as it's not the worst spot in the world. Oh, we don't vault those. Oh.
Okay. Wispy getting a little bit juiced at the Z-wall, but Autumn Sadness is not going to trust the power of the Z-wall and eventually goes to die in the comp corner. Wispy now, he's going to be breaking this pallet, and that UVX shot at the pallet gym, it didn't land because Wispy shot the ball directly into the front of the pallet, whereas you would want to skip it off of the pallet to bounce into the survivor. But that is neither here nor there, just a little bit of unknown trivia for you. And Wispy now, he's going back in the direction where he slugged Autumn Sadness. I mean, he took that hook onto Grenout, but he's continuing to slug our Nancy here. I'm not sure what his play is, but still, the survivors of Trauma have not done a gen in a very long time. Wispy gonna take the teleport. This pallet is still downed, and Autumn Sadness seems to be holding W around it. Nice weakened shot there.
Wow.
He's going to have another opportunity, and he just goes for the M1. Nice play there from Wispy, maybe taking advantage of the fact that Autumn Sadness thought the UVX was coming, and looks like he's finally going to pick Autumn Sadness up, put him up on the hook, and Wispy still looking like he's in a really strong position.
But we have to see how much gem progress we've seen from Trauma's survivor side here, though, as we have had a lot of time wasting, mostly from Autumn, and I think a bit from Grenout as well. Starting to get some fresh hooks here. Can't quite hear. My apologies, team. I am deaf in my left ear at the moment. So the gen has about half its progress, I would assume, as the next Penti totem is going up. Wispy going for the dry kick to at least get some regression going. And the gens around the shack are a fair ways away from each other. We do see a hint of scratch marks by the matchstick tiles. We know someone is going to be playing for that gen, and we do see one of the gens in the shack getting completed. So now Wispy doesn't really have the greatest gen setup in the world to be able to defend. It'd be impeccable with these TP placements if we're going to see Wispy getting a 4K before all the gens get done.
Can't believe Shack Pellet is still up after all this time, Spoker. Autumn Sadness, surely you've got to be throwing Shack now, right? Okay, there goes the Shack Pellet. Besides the Shack Pellet, Wispy has done a pretty good job of depleting the resources on the map. He's only going to have a few seconds here to land this shot onto Autumn Sadness. That weekend is going to be cleansed any second now. Goes for the shot, and at the last second, he cleanses the weakened. Wispy just waited a little bit too long for that shot, and that's going to allow Autumn Sadness to get into the corner. Gonna go for another shot here, skips it off the pallet and misses. Nice pathing there from Autumn Sadness, and this is why these unknown chases are so fun for me. The survivor pathing is so unique, the camera work is so difficult to do correctly, and Autumn Sadness makes it all the way into the corner and is gonna get slugged again. Wispy goes for the teleport. He wants to check this faraway gen that Escape has been working, and Escape going to be making himself scarce. Maybe one would say he's escaping from the gen, but he's not going to be found here. I'm not sure where he's stealthing, but this stealth is really important, Spoker.
Oh, it's absolutely imperative that Escape doesn't get found here, and it's so nice to see that Trauma is actually getting Grenout to go into position early before we even see the down onto Autumn, and being able to get the full reset off while Escape actually manages to stealth out, not getting spotted at the buses there. Really well played by Escape, though. Really unfortunate that Wispy wasn't able to pick up on that, but I think Wispy might be going back over now. Might have seen him at the bus from the shack, and there we go. Firecracker comes out a little too late. That hit just barely, but Escape's taking the tag and going towards where the previous gen was completed, not quite being able to apply the weaken, which is unfortunate. But Escape is just doing all the right things right now, getting as far away as possible from where the active gens are, just to try and waste as much time as needed.
Yeah, and that's going to be a completely useless hallucination there for Wispy. Can't imagine why he would need to teleport back there, especially when he's picking Escape up. And that's why you see a lot of these unknowns use the slashed backpack add-on, because it allows them to manually replace the hallucinations. But Autumn Status and Granout are doubling that gen by the broken truck. Is Wispy going to be able to sniff this out in time? Looks like he is going to be checking that gen first, but just how much progress does it have? They are going to complete it. We are in the end game now. Very nice play from Autumn Sadness and Granout, and he's not going to get that lunge either. Very nice vault there from Granout. Granout is always so clean on the Survivor, and Wispy still hasn't picked the pallet at this long wall jungle gym. Looks like the unhook is going to come in. Double weakened. Wispy is not content with just a 1-for-1 there. He wants to get the double weakened, get as many shots as he can, but he hits Escape during the endurance. That's so unfortunate. And you know Granout is just going to be following him to remove his own weakened here. Oh, but a double tap onto Escape. Okay, Wispy in the end game. He's starting to hit his shots, Spoker.
But at what cost, though? We're only going to be able to get another... Oh, I guess everyone was worth 2 more stages regardless. So Autumn and Granout both being able to escape after being fresh hook. We will still be seeing the 2 out from Trauma's survivors, and I'm really curious as to how Tremor's going to be doing on the survivor side, if they're going to be able to take this first set, because Wispy has put on a really decent performance, but they were still out, so... And I believe we were talking about it earlier, expecting a potential 4K, but that's not quite going to be happening. So there is a very clear win con that needs to be played for, and as we calculate it and get the next lobby set up, we will see you all right after a quick break. All right, welcome back to the second half of this first set, where Wizzle is going to be bringing a very interesting build, might I say, with a win con of 2k 8 stages. So 2 dead, 8 stages total because of the point penalty we saw on Tremor earlier. Haunt going to be the first one in chase here, dropping the long wall pallet, heading kind of over towards Shack, back towards the corrupt area, but Wizzle is going to be landing that weakened. I feel like this is a very playable win con for Wizzle, and that's why he's going with a very aggressive build with the Force Hesitation, the Agi, the Eruption, just some feel-good perks, not having to rely on totems as much as we saw in the last game. Now, Haunt, is going to be able to dodge that one out, and should be having a nice first chase for the survivors of Tremor, sorry.
Yeah, Haunt doing really well in this first chase so far. He was able to use his Lithe very effectively on that tile, and his weekend has got to be gone soon. Surely he has the camera work. Yes, he does. Haunt survives that first weekend, and Shack Gen is already done, Spoker. This is a really strong start for Tremor. Zaphis is going to take an M1 on that Shack pallet, but that is a-okay. We know that these unknown chases can last for a really long time if the survivors have great pathing. And if any survivor from NA is going to have great pathing, I know that Zaphis is that survivor. As he runs down towards the bottom side of the map, dodges out on that shot over the hill, and it looks like Wizzle's getting a little bit lost. He can't find Zaphis here. It's a lot of distance going over towards that 4-lane.
Oh, not quite being able to land that shot onto Zaphis. Playing this tile, Wizzle! That could have been it right there, but I was just hoping there was going to be a head-on play or something there, but no. Zaphis is going to be going down, and the Agitation Force Hezi is coming into play, making it very awkward for the survivors to get into a better position or anything like that. So this is going to be able to really have control as to where these hooks are going to go. Losing the first gen really early is really painful, but there could be something in store for the survivors here, as Wizzle is very optimally placing a TP.
Especially with no totems and no regression aside from Eruption. Force Hesitation is a perk that is really hard to actually get value out of. When it does work, it works really well. but we often see killers bringing it, expecting a certain scenario to play out, and then it just never does. And forced hesitation ends up being a wasted slot. But it looks like survivors from Tremor here actually have a ton of gen progress right now, and they might just be content to let Zaphis sit on the hook, as one gen is going to pop in the distance. We know that another one by the crane is also very close to popping. You know that if that gen at the crane is gonna pop, oh, nice cross map shot onto Wispy. I'm not sure exactly, he must have been working that gen by the hill. But the gen at the crane is gonna pop. We only have 2 hook stages now, as Zaphis is going to go second. Whoa, and he gets the injure onto Wispy too. Nice shot from Wizzle up onto the hill. That was a tough angle.
That was insane. That was so nice to see, but we are losing gens here, and Wizzle has so much catching up to do. We did see Zaphis going into the second stage and taking the chase at Shaq, the TP coming through. Zaphis is going to medium vault that, right? Every day of the week. No, he actually goes for the fast vault angle, and it's enough distance to dodge out that power. Zaphis has really got to cook up here if Tremor is going to be taking the set point here. It's honestly starting to look like it.
This chase is so important here, and oh, Zaphis is going to go down. Wispy doing the gen, injured and weakened, is so dangerous for Tremor, and he's going to go down too. The snowball with the eruption aura. I was about to say, Spoker, if Zaphis goes down, Wispy doing that gen, injured and with the flashlight saves. Where did that even come from?
Through the shack window, but Wizzle with an awesome TP to follow up with it as well. Just completely denying that flashlight save. Getting the pickup once again. 4th gen getting completed, but the gen that Wispy sprint burst through force hesitation to get away from is going to be getting...
going to take an M1 here, but looks like Zaphis is going to go up on the hook. This is still dangerous territory for Tremor. They have everybody injured. Only 1 generator remaining. The generators are not in any sort of 3-gen setup. There's nothing like that to be seen. But everybody is injured. There is a chance here for Wizzle to take this back and snowball. He's actually just going to weaken Haunt and then leave. So that's honestly the correct play. He wants to find these survivors trying to reset. And another weekend on a Jaw as well. He's really ramping up the pressure here. If he can just hit those follow-up shots, Wizzle really has a chance to bring this back.
Wispy taking the chase over to the crane. Gets hindered by the power, but doesn't get not affected by it really. Has the TP up. There's not really much Wispy can do here except run to the edge map and try and go down there, but still continues to play. The crane and Wizzle getting lost with that teleport. Isn't going to be able to get that down onto Wispy, who was so zoned, but that cross map shot is going to connect. Everyone
I was going to say, like, how do you get turned around in that with that close range on the hallucination teleport, but then you hit that long range shot onto Wispy? That's just a crazy play from Wizzle. As Chase now sort of starting on to Haunt, as these players from Tremor, oh, Wispy, he didn't dispel, and he's gonna go down on the TL wall. Eruption triggers onto 2 different gens. And if you're going to work that gen there, you have to dispel the hallucinations. The hallucinations are starting to become more and more frequent as Wizzle is going to slug here, and rightly so. There's only 2 survivors standing, and both of them are weakened.
Yeah, that's the problem though, is going for the dispel while you are weakened obviously takes a lot more time. And Jar's going to be the one taking chase here. Oh, not quite far enough to be able to get the down there. Josh should be able to get rid of the weakened here potentially. And Wizzle, has to go for the shot now. And there it is. We have Haunt getting the pick up onto Wispy once again. But Wizzle's just going to be able to take the hook to a really nice spot and stop these gens from getting done. This is looking very dangerous if Tremor is not going to be able to reset fully.
Yeah, this is going to be a fresh hook onto Jaw. That was Haunt getting the heal there onto Wispy. Teleport is going to come in now, and that's probably going to be pretty close to where that reset was. Oh no, Haunt here, he just gets caught at the TL wall. I'm not sure what he was doing there. Maybe the terror radius didn't kick in until it was too late, but he's just going to get knocked down there by Wizzle. And Wispy now, only survivor standing. What is his play here? This chase is so important. This game is on a knife's edge, Spoker. The survivors of Tremor, they had such good gen progress, but then they gave up that snowball with the gen on the hill. Nice teleport there into the hit on Wispy. He's injured now as the only survivor standing. Is he going to be able to get anything done here?
I don't think so. There was no way we were going to see the pickup onto Horn, onto a trade or anything like that. And that's just going to be the final slug with what's going to be a 4K1 for Wizzle. Bringing back for Trauma with the 2K8 win con. Wizzle just said, nah, let me cook. And he cooked.
Wizzle, I'm honestly really impressed with him here. We did see like some other games earlier in the season where Tremor or Trauma had the Unknown picked into them, and they really didn't do so well in those early Unknown sets. But they have really stepped it up here. They've won the Unknown set against a team that picked it, and like I said, I'm really impressed with Wizzle. His Unknown looked really clean today. He was able to get a huge snowball going in the 3v1, and I really think, Spoker, the critical moment there was Tremor. They all stayed injured, and they did gens weakened that had eruption on them, and that ended up leading to the snowball. Wizzle hit his shots. He converted on those mistakes, and that's going to be Trauma going up 1-0 in this series.
Yeah, we do have to wait a little bit, unfortunately, though, as Horn and Wispy both being hooked on Fresh Hook. We do have to wait until one of them goes to second stage before the game finishes here. But what an awesome result for Wizzle, and I'm sure everyone in Trauma is going to be very, very happy with this result. Wizzle very, very proud right now. And coming off of a set 1 win of the other team's set pick, you're now going to be going into the Ghost Face set where Trauma has specifically picked this killer as, yeah, this is the killer we're going to play. This is what we feel comfortable and strong with. And I feel like that it's going to be mostly decided on how this is going to go. Obviously, if Trauma is going to be taking a dominant 2-0 win here, or if Tremor is going to be able to make a comeback, which I think is still very much so possible, don't you think?
Yeah, and with that, Tremor is going to be Trauma. They sound so similar. Trauma is going to be going up 1-0 in the series. We will be right back very shortly with peak DBD, and by that I mean a Ghost Face set. So don't go anywhere, guys. Strap in, sit in a comfy chair. The Ghost Face set might take a long time, but it is going to be fun for everyone involved. You were promised peak Dead by Daylight before we went to the break, and here you have it. Wizzle on the Ghost Face on Larry's Memorial Institute with a very nice looking build there. He's got Sloppy Butcher with Ruin Undying Pentimento as he is going to be pathing towards the edge of the map here, looking to get his first stock. He's going to find Haunt there, and now this is going to be the dance between the killer and the survivors as he goes for stock. Is he just going to leave Haunt though? I would assume he will, Spoker, as I think Wizzle is going to look to build up stock on many survivors and then choose an opportune moment to strike later in the trial.
Oh, 100%, and also to get some of that juicy ruin value. We also see some undying value coming through as well. Some auras of survivors at the back of the top side of the map behind the TV room. We have a bit of info, and we have a double stalk onto 2 of our survivors, Zaphis and Wispy, both in a very dangerous position right now. And there goes Wispy with the exposed. Beautiful double back, though, is going to be able to make enough. Never mind, Wispy is committing the same direction. Has a fairly decent pallet to play with here, though. But Wizzle is going to be able to catch up. But no, there's another pallet in the way. Wispy's going to greed it, though. Definitely has to drop it here, but no. Wispy is being so greedy. What? There is no way.
What a play from Wispy. He just made something out of nothing for the survivors of Tremor. It was such almost a throw for him to get double stalked on that gen along with Zaphis, and he's still not in a good spot, but he plays those trash pallets so well and is able to get the stun off with the point fake onto Wizzle. And he's still in chase here. He's going to make that window, but I'm not sure if he makes anything else. He's going to need a hit here. I think he kind of lost track of where Wizzle was. He's eventually going to go down, but honestly, incredible chase there from Wispy. Given where it started, I think he can be really happy with that it didn't go worse than that, because it really could have with that double stalk on the channel.
Oh, 100%. And what I find really interesting, though, is the fact that we're seeing totem builds on the Ghost Face as opposed to a more traditional sort of eruption. Obviously, with the nerf to pop, it's not really as viable as it used to be, but it seems that totem builds are now the meta on our Ghost Faces, as Haunt is going to be getting spotted out at the pallet here. Rizzle really doesn't want to go for this M1, but kind of has to. Even just going to eat the pallet stun to not have to M1 Haunt and his juicy stalk progress. That first 2 generators are going to be getting completed. Prion.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that pallet throw there from Haunt. He should know from the beginning that he's stalked and that Wizzle is not going to want to M1 him. I honestly would have just kept running that and force Wizzle to M1 him. But now he's going to be camping the basement. We have 2 survivors that are effectively 99'd. It's going to be on the survivors of Tremor now to know that Zaphis and Haunt are both stalked. They need to send Ja for this unhook. He's the only one that has any sort of chance. Haunt here, he's almost going to get 99 there on that gen. They need to finish that gen as Wispy is going to go second. Wizzle knows that they need to finish that gen though, and he's going to be taking some unique pathing back towards the gen, and there he's going to catch Haunt with the exposed. There is a God Pallet here though, and he should be able... No, it's actually... God Pallet's not here. He's only going to have this bad pallet near the exit gate. Wispy is going to get unhooked. Oh, the God Pallet was there the whole time. Why did he go to the bad pallet when the God Pallet was here?
I mean, hey, it was greedy and it paid off, so well played to Haunt, but is it going to go for some interesting pathing here? Not quite going to be able to pay off either. Haunt's going to be able to make it to library unscathed with another God Pallet to drop as well, buying, I'm assuming, enough time for another survivor to take over his gen and get a complete, and to get Wispy into a bit of a safer spot, being Dead Hook. Wizzle has lost the tunnel out, and this is going to be crucial.
Yeah, losing the tunnel out there is so bad for Wizzle, and you would have thought that he was going to get that down onto Haunt, but Haunt had such good pathing there. That was a great chase, well marked from him. He took it to both of the God Pallets that he had in range. Great pathing there from Haunt, and he's honestly single-handedly brought Tremor back into the game here.
But here's Wispy once again getting caught out in the TV room. 3rd gen getting completed though. Really nice position for Wizzle to be finding the tunnel out again. We see Zapdos over here as well with a decent amount of stalk, almost ready to get fully exposed here as we take some sneaky pathing onto Wispy, who's just slow vaulted the upstairs window. Zapdos coming in for the body block, but he's fully stalked. He's going to be taking the... No, not even taking the down for Wispy. Wizzle's not going to go for it. He's just going to straight up go for Wispy here and get... Oh, get out onto Wispy. Might be able to slug Zapdos too.
Yeah, Zaphis now in chase, not very good pallet, and I mean, he's gonna go down as well. I think you really have to choose one or the other there. You got to take the body block for Wispy, or you need to just leave and play for your life. But survivors of Tremor choose neither option there. They're gonna take the death onto Wispy and the down onto Zaphis. And it looks like we have 2 survivors here hovering for some sort of save onto Zaphis.
I don't know if Wispy is really... That's not that... okay, never mind, I take it back. It's not the greatest of gen setups, as it's obviously not around the TV room. There's not much you can really do, but Jar was able to get that pickup onto Zaphis though, and Wizzle is more going for the objectives here. Does manage to spot out Haunt, who has been working that objective in the background a bit. And gets the tag, a cheeky little insta-swing onto Haunt, and takes the injure and is just going to run as far out of the gens as possible while the reset happens, across the map.
Yeah, and I mean, that is a good injure there onto Haunt, but unfortunately for Wizzle, he's still an M1 killer on Larry's, so when he doesn't have these marks coming through, he's always going to have to hit people twice. And no, he actually takes some really good pathing back onto Haunt. He made him think that he was leaving to go interrupt the reset, but in reality, he was stalking Haunt the entire time. And that's what is so good about these Ghost Face sets. The pathing that the killer takes through the rooms to confuse the survivor team. And I'm sure there was some miscommunication there from Tremor. So that's going to result in a fresh hook onto Haunt, and that's going to start the ball rolling for Wizzle in the 3v1.
Exactly right. The 3v1 is where the game really begins to start, and with Haunt on hook, Jar in not so great of a position, and I'm sure he's well aware of it as well. Zaphis being the only really safe survivor at the moment to be going for saves, and Wizzle patrolling the gens here, getting the info needed to know. All right, where are the survivors? There is Zaphis, not quite being able to get enough distance to not get tagged there. Wizzle coming from a really awkward doorway, He's just going to be able to get that tag and go back. We see Jar going for the safe that the power is not quite back enough. It's just going to go for the power back and maybe just an instant tag onto Haunt. No, just going to take the pallet instead.
Yeah, he doesn't opt to really do anything there with the power. Maybe he thought that he was going to get knocked out of the stealth instantly. Or if he's just going to opt to stay in the gen setup that he has and try to find a down onto Zaphis. Zaphis, though, he knew he was coming this time, and he's going to have distance. This is actually going to be a chase for Zaphis this time. Immediately pre-throws that exit gate pallet. It's a decent pallet. It is playable for the killer, but Wizzle is just going to kick it and leave. He's really worried about this gen on the bottom side of the map as well. Survivors of Tremor, they have not cleansed a single totem yet this game, and that tells me, I don't think they plan to at all, Spoker.
I feel like that Tremor really takes the approach of being as aggressive as possible on the objective. And
he saw Haunt there, but he didn't go for him. Haunt was right there, injured.
Maybe trying to mix up the comms a bit, go back to the gen while no one's really expecting, but no one's actually working on it. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Jar was in position to get back on this gen, and that's what Wizzle thinks as well. Checking the lockers and everything, but not quite being able to find him. It would have been insane if Jar was in that locker, but not.
He's even going to check the edge map here with the totem. Very interesting from Wizzle. I'm not sure what exactly does he think Tremor is plotting here. Because that was clearly Haunt injured running towards the top side of the map, leaving scratch marks and pools of blood. But yeah, it seems like Ja is going to be stealthing out edge map here while the two injured survivors are resetting all the way on the other side of the map. So Tremor can afford to play this really slow here, and that's exactly what you want to see from them. See, those survivors have been injured for so long that the sloppy butcher is actually worn off. So good, strong survivor play coming in from Tremor in the 3v1. We'll have to see if they can keep it up, though, because these Ghost Face sets are a marathon, not a sprint. If they get tired here, any mistake is just going to take it all down the drain for Tremor. As we see Haunt get 80% stalked there. Very surprising. It's not really what you want to see. He's going to be in danger now. Only one survivor not stalked now, and Ja is going to get snuck up on at the library, put on the ground. Very nice mark there from Wizzle. And I guess another miscommunication from Tremor. They didn't know where Wizzle was coming from.
But that's the thing. It really is hard to say where he was coming from. There, obviously Haunt being the last person to see where Wizzle was and where they were coming from. Just not really enough time to react, it seems like. We are going to be spotting out Haunt, though. We do have power available. We're going to try and get Haunt exposed. There it is. Zaphis is really going to be carrying Tremor right now, trying to get the team back in order, as we do have to pick up onto Jar already. Oh my goodness. Not even going to be able to make that pallet. And yeah, there's no surprise that Wizzle is just instantly going to be going for this pick onto Haunt. Knowing where everyone else is and knowing the current amount of hook stages that we have, this is our only other survivor that has been hooked, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's right. Haunt on the brink of death.
Yep, so Haunt now up on the hook. And, oh, nice breakout there from, I think that was Zaphis over by the generator. And two survivors with no stock here. This is where Tremor is going to have to reset the progress and try to get Haunt off of this hook. But they also have to do a gen here. The last generator in the Ghost Face set is so important because, as Dyer always says, 4K1 is the most common result, especially in these Ghost Face sets. So if they can get this last generator done, that is going to be absolutely huge for, I believe it'll be Wispy playing the Ghost Face next. As Ja, now he's going for this unhook. Probably, no, it's actually, he's not going to trade. He's just going to run away. Nope, he is going to take the unhook. So that's going to be a trade for Ja. Haunt off the hook. And looks like Wizzle is going to opt to zone him back towards the generator setup. Very nice, deliberate play there from Wizzle as Haunt pathing towards the library. He has a couple pallets here, but they're really not that good. But he greeds that one. He's going to go for the window instead, but I don't think he has the distance for that.
Wow, and with, like, not quite a decent amount of stalk onto Zaphis, but Zaphis not exactly being in the safest of positions right now. If Zaphis were to get spotted right now, it would just all be over with the 4K1. For Wizzle, not going to be able to hear that slow vault just too far away. Zaphis is going to... Oh, no, goes for the pick onto Haunt. There will be a pick up onto Jar happening here. And the second elimination is coming through. So obviously, it's starting to come down to, yeah, Hatch is probably going to be what the survivors have to play for here. Tremor, I don't think is going to be getting the objective done.
Yeah, and with a 2v1 here, the game is just going to grind to a halt, Spoker. And I think that's why Wizzle opted to get the pickup onto Haunt. He was the Death Hook survivor. And it seems like Zaphis is going to leave Ja on the ground. And yeah, I would do the same thing if I was on the survivor team here, because in a 2v1, you're not getting these gens done. So Zaphis is in a locker. He's going to be playing for Ja to bleed out, but there's a problem here. Zaphis does not have an item, which means that he's not going to be able to keep the crows off of himself when they do start to appear. So I'm not sure if that's going to like snowball to the point where a loud noise notification is going to be seen by Wizzle. Ja is over halfway bled out, but we're going to have to see here if Zaphis is going to get crows, because that might lead to him getting found by Wizzle.
Yeah, that is really interesting to think about as well, because obviously opening chests is not allowed in the DBDLeague, and there's no one else left to drop an item, and we see Zaphis leaving his locker with a crow. Wizzle is gonna be finding him after all, and that should... we can't determine just yet, but once we get this down onto Zaphis, we gotta figure out where Ja went and get both of the survivors on hooks, because if RNG Hatch does its thing, then you never know what could happen.
And that's honestly scary, Spoker. Like, right as I said he's going to get crows, we see Zaphis dismounting from the locker with a crow right in front of the stealthed killer. So, really good play there from Wizzle. He played this so slowly, and he doesn't really need to go find Ja, because bleed outs this season count for full points. But it seems like Ja wants to be found anyways, and I'm not he might just be trying to confirm Ja's location before he picks anybody up. I'm not really 100% sure why he's not picking up here.
I think at this point Wizzle has to obviously pick up Zaphis, and
yeah, he needs to pick up Zaphis because Ja will bleed out at any moment, and that means that Hatch could spawn directly under Zaphis. You never know.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we do have... oh, we found Ja instead of Zaphis. This changes things a lot, because now with Ja on hook, we have all the time in the world to find where Zaphis could have crawled to. I think out of the two survivors, it would have been easier to find Zaphis, but no, Ja being the one being found is big problems team for Tremor.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't need to be this difficult. I think if you just pick Zaphis up right when you down him, then Ja bleeds out, then the game is over. But now we're going to have to play the searching game for Zaphis as he crawls towards the top side of the map. But yeah, overall, very good Ghost Face set from Wizzle. The survivors of Tremor are going to... I'm not sure if they'll be happy with this or not. Because, I mean, we've seen a lot stronger results from the killer in these Ghost Face sets. We've seen 4K2s, we've even seen 4K3s. But then again, we've also seen a lot of outs in these Ghost Face sets as well. And that's why these are so fun. Because they're just so intense on the survivor team. And there's so much like room for skill expression there with the M1 chases on a map like Larry's. And now I guess Wizzle, he really just can't find Zaphis. I mean, like I said before, Zaphis was right in front of you when you downed him. You could have just picked him up, but he's gone.
Where has he gone to? And we see just near TV room, Zaphis falling for his life with the hopes that the RNG gods will bless him today with a hatch spawn at his slug. We do see Wizzle crawling around near the TV room near where Zaphis is, and there he is, getting picked up right as Ja is getting eliminated on hook. Now, are we going to hear hatch near where Zaphis is getting hooked? No, I don't think so. So that will be the 4K1 being confirmed for Wizzle for Team Trauma. And if I have to say, I feel like 4K1 is the most average or the most expected result that you will normally see on a Ghost Face set when you have teams of a very similar caliber going up against each other. So this could be really, it could go either way at this point, with Tremor going to be on the killer side in this next game. I'm really excited to see this, as this will determine whether or not Trauma is going to be taking the win here over Tremor. They've got a lot of work to do. 4K2 WinCon. We'll have a look after a quick break. All right, welcome back, legends, to the second half of the second set with a 4K2 WinCon. Wispy has to play for. We see a bit of a more traditional Ghost Face build with Eruption, Pain Res, Sloppy, Corrupt, as opposed to using Hex Totems. Oh, and we're already going to be spotting Arcanado. Swatter is going to be the first one in chase here in the TV room in the heart of the Corrupt gens, which is ideally the perfect place you want a chase to be. Wispy not having it is going to be looking around for some more survivors, and a tag potential isn't going to be able to get that tag through the window. There's no chance, and that's going to be escape. Wow! Managing to get the pallet stun off and make it down to the other side of the map. What a start!
I'm shocked that Wispy did not get that hit through that pallet, especially with the ping difference there onto escape. Somebody just has really good internet there if that was not going to land. And personally, Spoker, I really like the lack of Corrupt on these Ghost Face sets, because the important thing at the beginning of the Ghost Face set is that you want to find the survivors, but not necessarily actually chase them. You want to build up as much stock as you can. Now, as he's going to find Autumn Sadness, really good hold of that corner there from Autumn Sadness, going to force Wispy out of the Shroud and force an M1, so that stock isn't going to mean anything. So Eruption is going to be put down on that generator in the corner. Wispy is going to be looking to play this slow and put down as many eruptions as he can. You really don't want to be chasing in this area if you're Wispy, because this is where all of the strong pallets are. You know that the survivors of Trauma are going to be just across the map working generators. That's 3 god pallets now thrown.
That is a lot of resources gone, but I think, Trauma responding to aggressive play with also very aggressive play as well. It's a different playstyle altogether, obviously, when there's no totems coming into play, but just being super aggressive, using all your resources and forcing the chase to be in the part of the map where you want it to be, that's sort of what you play for here, and that's exactly what Trauma is doing. Swatter is going to be getting fully exposed. I don't think that's what Wispy wanted to do, is we're going to go back and apply some Eruption and try and, you know, get that regression set up for later on in the game. Now Swatter has a very important task of not getting caught in an awkward spot, and it's not looking good for Swatter here. I don't know what tile we have in here, but it sounds like we have Nancy fast vaulting into the locker. I don't know if Wispy heard that as well. He is checking lockers. It was the other locker, I'm pretty sure. Am I hearing things, or did you hear that as well, Prion?
No, I did not quite hear that. I'm not really sure what happened there. It could have been also Autumn Sadness vaulting a window to get out. But also, like, it was definitely a mistake there for Wispy to actually fully stalk Swatter, but it ended up working because he stayed in the stealth, he broke line of sight from Swatter, and then he was able to find him again in a bad spot. So Swatter, I guess he thought that Wispy was off of him and went away from the Library God Palette. If he had simply positioned safely on the Library God Palette, he would not have gone down there. So a bit of a mistake there from Trauma, and it's going to result in Wispy's first took, Pain Resonance, and an Eruption onto a few different generators. And now we got to see if Wispy is going to be tunneling Swatter. I think this is an opportune time to tunnel because he's in this area that Autumn Sadness has already thrown all the pallets.
Does have at least some really nice windows to work with here, but Wispy played it really well. Autumn trying to come in for the body block, but accidentally sandbagging Swatter, who's going to be going down and taking the second stage hook now. I'm not too sure how the gen progression is looking right now, but I think with the build that Wispy brought this game, he's actually doing a really, really good job at holding the game in a very unfavorable position for Team Trauma right now.
Yeah, this is a great start for Wispy, and now he has some time to go a little bit away from the hook and apply some Eruption onto the gens. He is going to get a pallet to the face from Escape, but he really does not care about that right now. That is going to be the Entity Spikes already starting to creep up on that generator, and that's going to be a second Eruption placed onto it. First gen is going to pop on the top side of the map, but Wispy really doesn't care about that right now because he has Swatter on Death Hook here. he's going to want to either make this a trade or even camp Swatter to death. And if Swatter dies here, that is just so good for Wispy's position and getting this win con.
Yeah, I know. I don't really see a universe where the survivors are going to be going for this save here. We see Autumn coming in, though, getting body blocked by Wispy. Door stuck. Can't get in. We have another survivor coming in. That's going to be Grenout. They're trying to go for the save here, but Wispy is blocking the hook prompts, and the elimination happens. Autumn taking the tag.
Play there from
and chase
Wispy.
onto Grenout. Wow.
That was a really strange hook position next to that door, and Wispy took full advantage of it. Really good game sense from him there. And that's going to be Swatter dead at 3 gens. He was able to expertly block the unhook prompt for 2 different survivors by standing in that doorway, and also gets a tag onto Autumn Sadness. So Wispy's got to be feeling good about his position right now. He just needs to finish some more chases, and this game might actually go to Tremor.
Oh, and we do spot out Autumn heading over towards the left-hand side of the map here, trying to make it over to... there's no pallet here, isn't there? It's already been used before, and Wispy should be able to get a quick down onto Autumn here. Autumn just trying to go deeper to the exit gate and force the unhook to be... force the hook to be in a undesirable spot for Wispy, but the eruption is going to be getting applied cross-map, and regression is starting to stack upon stack upon stack, and...
Was that Wispy, or was it... Oh, it's dedicated server.
No, it's Yuli crushed. Yuli crushed.
Really? Because I see dedicated server not responding.
Just have match chat open.
Okay. But, if everybody crashed at different times, it could have been the servers.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the housekeeping, and whenever you hear me when I'm not casting, you know that something is on fire. In the previous trial, there was an unhook. 2 trauma survivors tried to unhook their team member, and Wispy was right in front of the hook. And there's a bug currently that if you're moving into the hook, you are denying the survivors from getting the unhook prompt. What we have to check now, with the rule committee being brought in as well, is if there's a bug abuse, which would lead to a potential restart, and if we can see any intention from Wispy doing that, because this would also be a difference in what actions we have to take afterwards. So we understand it was a very unfortunate trial, and a lot of things are falling together right now, and honestly, we are a little bit overwhelmed here. First of all, the trial cuts for you because the servers are throwing us out. Then we have this potential bug discussion that is going on. We appreciate you. We love you. Get your popcorn. Please stand by. We'll update you. Promise. Hello, everyone. First of all, we appreciate that so many people are simply staying on 25 minutes of please stand by screen, being probably bored to hell. Why is DBDL not making a quick call or moving forward? So the reason is simple. We are having a responsibility for making this tournament fair. We are having a responsibility for making this tournament reasonable. And I will honestly say, if needed, I would stay here for 3 hours until I'm 100% sure with all my heart, and same goes for the team in the background. We would rather stay here until midnight, but make a call where we think we made a fair decision, a reasonable decision that is good for this tournament and the integrity of competitive DBD. That's why we're not rushing it yet. Sorry for making you wait. Decision is replay of the trial, half of a hook stage penalty for Team Tremor. They are angry. They have a good reason to be angry. We are angry because in an ideal world, there wouldn't be any bugs. There wouldn't be a decision like this. And we are also well aware that 500 people will say in a second, boo, DBDL, what's that? Half of you will probably celebrate. We hate these decisions. Unfortunately, we are in this position because we are hosting an event. Someone has to make it. Why have we made this decision? Reason one. On the clip Tremor has provided, you can see that Wispy is walking towards the hook and the survivor that tried to unhook, and that their prompt to unhook got their prompt to unhook has been cancelled because of Wispy moving there. So this is number one, and now I'm hearing in the background that Tremor decides to forfeit the set or even the entire game. Yeah, Tremor is not in the VC anymore, ladies and gentlemen. You can tell that I'm now completely overwhelmed. Okay, well, it is what it is. We cannot change it. So the decision was we would have replayed and they would have taken a penalty. They walk towards the hook. They walk into that survivor. You can see the prompt is being cancelled. Tremor cannot unhook. This impacts the trial. The players were informed about this bug occurring. So the very least, and this is not even about the decision of this being intention or no intention, the killer is at least taking a great risk of triggering this bug. And considering that all players were made aware, we, in cooperation with the rule committee that came in very urgently, which we are giving a shout out and thank for, have decided that this is at least then falling into the responsibility of the killer. As such, we would have reduced the penalty to only a replay and half of a hook stage. But as we see right now, Tremor is so offended over it and so angry over it that they have left the VC. So I would assume Tremor is taking the win. If this is bad sportsmanship or not is something everyone has to decide at home for themselves individually. This is a question I don't want to make a statement on. I am, and this is a personal statement now, at least disappointed that this escalated here. I think it's not necessary that it escalates. And again, you can be very, very sure no one of us likes these decisions. No one of us, we hate them just as you hate them. But it seems like Tremor is gone. So we will try get them back. If they don't, we have to take it. In this case, we would see Eternal going against Calamity next. I feel like we shouldn't be sorry, yet I always feel sorry when something like this occurs because it's obviously not what you guys are coming for. You guys want to see great comp DBD. Now we have a bug discussion and one team being mad and leaving. Well, I guess we cannot change it. It's out of our control. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being nice to us and maybe having some understanding. We'll see you in a moment. Thank you. Yeah, hello everyone. Here I am, clueless as before. They don't come back. They have decided to leave the game as it is. And I can somewhat understand it because it sucks. I'll say it as clear as it is. The fact that we are talking about a bug, the fact that we have to pull in 6-7 rule committee members, the fact that we need a referee voting with the staff team about a bug appearing in the game having such a drastic impact of a survivor dying and influencing the whole trial, it simply sucks. It destroys the tournament because there is no fair decision. If we replay, it's unfair to Tremor if they haven't been found guilty of doing it intentionally because they had a great trial. If we don't replay, it's unfair to Tremor because they lost their survivor. Whatever decision we take, it's wrong. It's bad for the game, but somehow maybe good for the tournament. And we took 25 minutes, and we are standing behind this decision. We are standing behind the decision of saying that Wispy is responsible that this bug happened, which is, I want to emphasize on it, not saying that Wispy abused the bug intentionally. This is not what we are saying. We are not coming out here and calling Wispy a cheater, and this is right now what Tremor has taken from it. And we don't understand why, because we haven't used this term, and we try to emphasize multiple times that we are not saying they were cheating. But being responsible for a bug can still be possible. And they moved into the hook and the survivor, and you can see, based on the evidence provided, that Wispy's movement so close to the hook caused Tremor to not be able to unhook. And this is what made the decision into a replay, because the killer is responsible for this bug. And then it would be unfair to tell Tremor, oh, better luck next time. And our rule set says we are replaying a trial when the bug occurred. And since the killer is responsible, it is a restart with a penalty. Then is the question, how harsh? Team DQ? No way. Forfeit? No way. Game penalty would be usually a tier 2 penalty, because we had a gen done, so it would be 2.5 hook stages. And we said, well, it is a very slim space there in the Larry's Memorial Institute. It was hectic. Maybe it was really accidentally. He's responsible, but accidentally. Let's make it tier 1, half of a hook stage. We believed it is a good compromise, because a replay must have happened with penalty. There's no chance of it. Tremor took it very bad. Can I be mad at them? No, because the situation is super bad. Can I understand them? Also no, because we tried to talk to them. They didn't want to, I don't even say they didn't want to listen, but whatever. Before I'm digging my hole here. But what I can say is that what they took from it was that DBDL is calling them cheater. I've seen that they've said it in the match chat. I've seen it that they say it on Wispy stream at the moment. It is not what we think. But it makes you responsible if you know about a bug and you run into the hook. And the players were specifically informed by the rule committee. They all received an info. Be careful around the hook. This is in the game. Move away. Let the survivors unhook. And if you intentionally move into the hook, that doesn't mean yet that you intentionally abuse the bug, because maybe you forget about the bug in that moment. But you intentionally at least held W into the hook, triggering that bug. And that makes you responsible for it. And then you have to take the penalty. Unfortunately, Tremor doesn't take, they take the penalty, but they left going out, touching grass. I don't know. They are not here anymore. They refuse to come back. Sorry for 45 minutes of no content besides some chill music. We love you. This is what I want to say at the end. It's certainly one of the most difficult decisions here tonight in 4 years of hosting. I have been a referee in football in the past. I know how it is to receive 50% of "are you okay?" and 50% saying you made the right thing. Please take your own judgment from it. Don't only listen to this campfire chat. Go to Tremor, ask them, get all perspectives. Like, I'm not claiming we are the best here, but this is our reasoning, and we stand with this reasoning. And it has taken a long time, because if we make a call here, then we want to make a reasonable one, because we have a responsibility also for future cases, because this today was a decision for future cases that appear like this. And then we rather take half an hour and make a good one. And now I feel like I've repeated myself 3 times. I'm a bit overwhelmed. if I didn't make sense, please reach out to me in DMs. Please talk to me. I'm up to explain it again. Eternal versus Calamity. We also have server issues today. The stream has crashed before. We hope it will not happen again. Seems like the luck is not on our side today. Let's see if we can survive it. We love you. See you soon.
Hello everybody, caster, editor, player Mathis here. This is not where the story with Tremor ends. We have posted announcements on our Discord server, and since not everybody has access to the Discord server, I am here to show you said announcements and read them out to you. Official statement from DBDLeague. Subject: disqualification of Team Tremor from Season 9. Dear participants and community members, during the recent match between Trauma and Tremor, held at Larry's Memorial Institute with Ghost Face, an unfortunate situation arose involving a known bug in the game. This bug, which allows the killer to prevent survivors from unhooking when standing too close to the hook, significantly impacted the trial by denying a crucial unhook for Team Trauma. We had previously informed all players about this rare and inconsistent bug and advised caution. Upon thorough investigation, which included consulting multiple members of the rule committee and reviewing evidence provided by Team Trauma, it was determined that Wispy, from Team Tremor, was responsible for triggering this bug. While we did not assess whether this was done intentionally or accidentally, we made our decision in favor of fairness. Consequently, a replay was mandated, and Team Tremor was penalized with a reduction of 0.5 hook status, instead of the standard 0.25 due to the bug's inconsistency and the hectic nature of the situation. Following this decision, Team Tremor chose to leave their DBDLeague voice chat and forfeit the match, ignoring a set deadline to rejoin. This behavior is unacceptable and against the code of conduct and rule set to which all teams have agreed, which state that teams must accept and adhere to referee decisions and continue playing. This incident marks an unprecedented challenge to our tournament's integrity, and we must respond decisively to maintain competitive fairness. We will not allow teams to pressure tournament organizers with a potential loss of content, potentially risking decisions leaning towards teams that are known to show that behavior. Therefore, after careful consideration, we are disqualifying Team Tremor from Season 9 with immediate effect. The players involved in the forfeit are suspended indefinitely. Playing in competitive Dead by Daylight is a privilege that comes with the responsibility to respect and uphold high standards. Our volunteers work tirelessly to organize these events, and we will not tolerate any actions that undermine their efforts or intent on the integrity of the competition. For any further questions, please contact Dyer. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. Now you might also be wondering how is this going to affect the scoring, since well, we are in week 7 now, which means Tremor has already taken or given 6 respective points. And for that, there's another announcement. Scoring of the remaining matches for Team Tremor. In light of Team Tremor's disqualification, many have inquired about the scoring process for their remaining 2 matches. We'd like to emphasize that both alternatives have pros and cons. Losing a team from a competition originally designed for 10 teams invariably impacts the tournament, especially when some matches remain unplayed. Thus, our decision may attract critique and support while aiming for fairness. And these are the 2 options we had. Option A, removing Tremor from the tournament, provides clear scoring for the matches that happened, would be the pros, and cons ignores the performance and skill differences among the teams that played against Tremor, affecting the integrity of their earned result. So just removing all the points that they granted or took. Option B, awarding a 2-0 win to the remaining teams scheduled to face Tremor, which would be Arianda and Zero Practice. It would maintain consistency with normal results from most leagues, however it does grant 2 wins a win without having played a match. And the decision we made was we have decided to award the 2-0 win to the team scheduled to face Tremor in weeks 8 and 9. And the reasons for that would be 1, match consistency. Tremor completed 7 out of 9 matches, meaning 78% of their games were played and scored as usual. Disregarding these results would unfairly penalize teams that have already competed against Tremor. And impact on teams. The affected teams are Arianda and Zero Practice. Zero Practice, currently ranked number 9, has minimal chances of making the playoffs, therefore the impact of rewarding free wins primarily benefits Ariandel. Performance consideration. Ariandel's strong performance record, including victories against top competitors like Eternal and Calamity, earned them their leading position. Given these achievements, awarding them with a 2-0 win, although unconventional, is justified. And Standard Practice, awarding wins in the event of forfeits aligns with common strategies in similar competitive contexts. Based on these considerations, and to preserve the integrity of the overall performance, Zero Practice and Ariandel will be awarded a 2-0 win for their respective unplayed matches against Tremor. We hope you understand, and we'll see you in the fog.